sins of the whole world.
Yeah, and I think that's why his disciples were so upset. They were so upset because time after time, you told them ahead of time, I am going to die. I am going to go to the cross. I am the Lamb of God that takes. They could not wrap their minds around this whole thing. They were, and finally at the Last Supper, you can imagine when he said, "This is my body. This is my blood." Can you imagine the unbelievable confusion because they thought he was going to take over the Roman Empire, and they thought he was going to conquer and set up his kingdom right there. But he said, that's not why I came. That's not why I came. I came to be a substitute for you guys.
Yeah.
I came to die for you guys, for you, the ones I love. I came for the whole world. But
isn't it true that when God brings deliverance, it's so much greater than anything we could ever think about or imagine? In other words, as you said, they're thinking, here he is. This is the Messiah. He's going to deliver us from Caesar. Jesus is thinking, no, I've come to deliver you from the power of Satan and sin. He's going to remove us from our oppressors, and give us freedom as a nation, as a people. And God says, no, I'm going to do so much. You need to be delivered from the power of sin ruling and reigning over your life. And I'm going to do that for you by laying down my life on the cross. So again, if we chose our deliverance, it would fall so far short of the deliverance that God has prepared for us. He always does, as Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 says, exceeding abundantly above all we can ask or think. That's just the nature of who God is. Remind you that if you'd like to weigh in, share your thoughts with us, you can do so in the chat. Please join us if you feel so led to do so. If you have any questions, post questions as well. But we are focusing today on the substitutionary atoning work of Christ on the cross. Pastor Sturge, God's perfect justice demands some form of atonement for sin. It absolutely does. And we know that humanity is depraved to such an extent that the Bible even goes so far as to say that we were spiritually dead and incapable of doing anything to atone for our sin in any way possible. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 1 brings that out. So this penal substitutionary work of Christ means that his death on the cross did what we will refer to as, in a biblical term, propitiated or satisfied God's requirement for justice. And that is important, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know what I thought of? God knew what we did not know. God knew what we did not know. And in Isaiah 53 again, it's beautiful. It says in verse 11, he shall see the labor of his soul and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant shall justify many. In other words, like the world did not know, they didn't have a clue what the cross was all about. The Pharisees had no clue, the common people, but God knew exactly what he was doing and why he was doing it. And I think that's for